I don't know. I guess that's not as amusing to you, John. I don't know. Welcome to My Gotta Podcast. I'm Jim Wood. In this episode, John Powell and I preview Georgia's matchup with Ball State. We talk through what we're looking for in the game, and we answer questions from you, our listeners. As always, remember to check out the newly redesigned MyGottaPodcast.com to see our latest merch. And you can follow us on social media at My Gotta Podcast. Finally, we'd love for you to check out our presenting sponsor, Oxia Time, at oxiatime.com. That's AXIATIME.com. Now, let's join the conversation in progress. I'm not sure. Have we ever gone off the rails in the conversation before the podcast starts like we did tonight? That might be a first.
Probably. We probably have. We tend to go off the rails in general.
Sure. Fair. I know you just said you had an Old Faithful bourbon. So now I'm curious because now I'm wondering if we have the same one or not. I guess we'll see.
What is Old Faithful to you?
Maker's Mark 46.
I've got Weller Special Reserve, but Maker's 46 would have been a good one. I don't currently have Maker's 46 in the cabinet, but I was actually just thinking about that this weekend, that I needed to go get some more daily drinkers because all I've got is the really expensive stuff.
Yeah. You can't have just that.
Yeah.
This actually is it's the French oaked one. I haven't seen the regular Maker's 46 around lately. I mainly see the French oaked.
Well, I will tell you the Georgia bourbon drinkers. I've seen a lot of posts on the socials about Eagle Rare just dropping. So if you're an Eagle Rare fan, there's been a lot of them floating around.
I know my dad just picked some up today. My dad sent me a picture today. They were out and about, and he picked up some Eagle Rare and some Buffalo Trace. So
Buffalo Trace as well.
Yeah.
My local store. Matter of fact, the guy that my buddy that came this past weekend to watch the Georgia game brought me a bottle of Buffalo Trace.
Got it. Nice.
Which we promptly drank.
Oh yeah,
we drank the whole bottle.
Naturally, I'm still nursing all of my stuff that I've had for a while. So because I never see it around here. So.
Well, I definitely won't make the same mistake I did last week, which is to just do Creature Comforts. I'm just going to go straight for bourbon because as soon as I switched to bourbon, we started winning. So,
during the game.
During the game, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I was in the stadium, so I did not bring anything into the stadium with me. So yeah, I didn't have anything. Although you know what, we didn't talk about this. I did get one of the souvenir Cokes. So I had a Coke in the souvenir cup. So the souvenir cup has like the 4 Natty logos on it.
Yes,
it's good. I liked it.
I'm gonna have to ask you to probably grab me one just in case. But I'm gonna have to grab one live and in person at one point because that's definitely on my bucket list for the year is to grab one of those couple of those cups.
Yeah. No, they look good. I was pleased with it. So it turned out nicely.
Yes.
Well. Week 2,
another scrimmage.
Yeah, Ball State.
Are you as raring to go as I am about facing the Indiana State Normal School Eastern Division?
Right. I here's what I'm happy about. I'm happy about the fact that Georgia came into the season as preseason number 1 and has made it to week 2 and is still number 1. Unlike back in 2008, when we were preseason number 1 and had already lost it by week 2. So I'm happy to see that we were able to hold on to that.
Yeah, I'm feeling they're gonna hang on to that for a minute. Although, was it Florida State was getting some first place votes, which I
didn't even look at who got votes and everything, but I know, yeah, they definitely made a big jump. I mean, they were impressive. I think they should have jumped up. So
yeah, well, we'll see. I think everybody's Final Four probably changed after yesterday, right? Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah. And apologies, we were.
Oh man, John is not allowed to have college football on, which I guess fortunately we probably are not going to have too many more Mondays with football, right?
Right. Yeah. Monday night college football is I think pretty much exclusive to Labor Day.
Yes.
Yeah, until the postseason. So yeah, I think we should be pretty safe from that from now on. But that was pretty funny. I mean, I definitely had Clemson in my playoff Final Four. So that is gone. But hey, Washington won, and they were the team that you were more surprised by. They're top 10. They are top 10, John. So watch out for the Huskies or other dogs.
Yeah, we're gonna have to watch out for old Chris Peterson. Is he bringing back the Boise State Magic? Tune in to find out.
Except that he's not their coach anymore, but that's okay.
Oh, he's not?
No.
Not at Washington? Oh, dang, I thought he was.
No.
When did that change?
He retired.
Chris Peterson did?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh.
Yeah, he's done. He's done.
Man, that just shows you how much I care about what goes on outside of the Southeastern Conference.
Oh man, too good. All right, well, I guess why don't we I guess we can jump into the matchup. So we got Ball State coming in to Athens and to Sanford Stadium on Saturday, kickoff at 12 o'clock. So we do have an actual nooner this week at Dooley Field at Sanford Stadium. The Dogs coming in 1-0. Ball State coming in 0-1. They are in the MAC. So Georgia participating in some action on Saturday. Although their game last week was against Kentucky. So 2 SEC opponents for Ball State to open up the year. John, what's our all-time record against Ball State?
0-0.
How crazy is that? That again, to start the season, back-to-back weeks, 2 teams we've never played before.
And again, it's a team that I could have sworn we played.
Right. I mean, it's a name that you're, familiar with. It's familiar name of a school, but yeah, I would like to know, like, I don't know, maybe we can get Jason Hasty to research for us, like, or someone who knows these kinds of things. Like, has it ever happened? Like, when's the last time Georgia opened the season with 2 teams they had never played before? That's pretty crazy. Mm-hmm. I would imagine that has to have been a long time ago. So
I would agree.
Yeah. Let's see. We mentioned the rankings. Dogs still number 1 in both polls. Ball State is not ranked. This game actually is on television, so you don't have to stream it. It is on the SEC network. We've got Taylor Zarzour doing the play-by-play, Matt Stinchcomb as the analyst, and Alyssa Lang on the sideline. And then the official hashtag that we will not use when we tweet during the game is #BallVerseUGA. Again, weather looks nice but hot. So low of 62 for the day, high of 87 with the kickoff at noon. I imagine it's going to be a bit of a scorcher. So be sure to hydrate. I will say something that I learned this last week. You can bring a up to 20 ounce water bottle into the stadium. If you have like an unopened water bottle, you can bring it in, and then there's like water stations to refill throughout the stadium. So you can actually bring in your own water. Like I said, refill that bottle throughout the stadium. So would highly recommend doing that with the temperatures as high as they're going to be.
I would also say that that's a recent development that I've learned about the Braves Stadium as well. If you're local in Atlanta and heading to the Braves game, was also the case for the Rockies. Was actually even more like, I don't know. I feel like this trend, which is like just a foreign concept to me, because I was always like locked down. You can't bring anything into the stadium ever. But I feel like in recent years that must have been relaxed, because like in Colorado, we literally walked in with insulated like an insulated like Yeti like screw top, and the guy was like, "What's in there?" And I was like, "Water." He goes, "Okay." It literally could have been anything. Yes, I was completely flabbergasted by how loose it was out in Colorado. But
okay, yeah, that's different.
At the Braves Stadium, though, like as long as you have it in a clear plastic bag and they're unopened waters, like you can bring in, like we brought in sub sandwiches and chips, and like basically had a meal for the last time we went to the Braves game. And I don't know if it's like that for the Georgia game, but it seems like it's more open.
Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah. Let's see. I guess that's it. That's it for the matchup, general stuff there. Unless you've got any Ball State fun facts for us, John.
You know me. I've got some Ball State fun facts. I'm going to take advantage of these teams that we've never played before. All right. Yeah. So Ball State. You may be wondering why is it called Ball State, Jim? Why is it called Ball State?
Okay, because the conversation before went off the rails, I actually know this. It is because of the well, I forgot the person, but it's like the mason jars, ball mason jars, right? Is
Correct.
the family.
So the Ball family moved from Buffalo, New York to Muncie, Indiana, which is where Ball State is located. Um,
Is it Munchie or is it Muncie? I've always said Muncie. Is it Munchie?
sure.
We need Scott Howard. I was like, sorry. Continue. Continue.
I was told that there would be no pronunciations. Yeah, Ball State is located in, and we'll call it Muncie for now. But the Ball brothers moved their company to the area because of, at the time, it was in the 1800s or whatever, they had a big natural gas boom during that time frame, and so they started out building tin cans, the Ball family, and then they moved to what you are most likely in the South familiar with is the Ball mason jars.
Hmm.
In order to make glass, natural gas is a pretty important element, and they decided to move their company to help with that industrial product. Over the years, they got more and more involved. I mentioned Indiana State Normal School Eastern Division, which is what they were founded as in 1918. However,
Okay.
they stretched their roots back to 1899, where they were a teaching school, like a teacher training school. They didn't actually get that full, university status until 1918. But basically, they were founded as a teaching school. And there's a whole, I'm not going to go through the whole Greek tragedy that is like the changing of hands from when it first started in 1899 to 1918. But basically, at some point, the Ball family bought the defunct university land, and all the buildings and everything that it was located on, and they promptly donated it to the state of Indiana. And the state of Indiana, later down the road, as they developed, plans for the school, like in honor of the Ball family, named it Ball State University. So it is actually one of a handful of universities in the United States that actually bears a family name.
Okay.
Public universities.
Right. We've discussed Vanderbilt in the past, so.
Well, Vanderbilt's still they're a private university, right?
Yeah, they are private. Yeah, true.
So this is a public school,
right? Exactly.
With a family name. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, Muncie, it's pretty much an industrial town. A lot of different corporations, obviously, with the natural gas connections. Like I said, I think that the Ball Corporation is probably the most famous. But there's been a number of other companies that you probably have heard of, like Borg Warner, but a couple other have had manufacturing facilities there. But yeah, other fun facts. Okay, so their mascot is the Cardinal. Charlie Cardinal is the mascot's name. He's our version of Harry Dog. If you really want to, and Jim can maybe tweet out the pictures that I sent him of this thing. Basically, in 1969, they basically had a tryout for basically calling him Charlie Cardinal. Prior to that, they were known as like the Hoosierians or something like that. But there's not a whole lot of details on what they were called prior to 1969, or even what the mascot even looked like. But in 1969, the school basically developed this Charlie Cardinal, and he was a paper mache. That was the original Charlie Cardinal, and let me tell you, it is nightmare fuel.
It's so scary, so scary looking. This is, by the way, to circle back, this is how we got off the rails beforehand, because John, you were texting me pictures of the nightmare fuel mascot from the 60s. It's interesting.
I mean, it goes from like one extreme to the next. Like it goes from the paper mache art project that looks like a high schooler did or whatever, but then fast forward and they have this like dressed up mascot, and it looks like something that your mom would have made for Halloween kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it just progressively got worse and worse. And I was telling Jim that it looks like the current mascot is like a cartoon, and it's funny. And I was joking whether or not one of their famous alumni actually designed that costume because there's a number of famous alumni that have attended Ball State, Jim.
Mhm.
And since I just alluded to one there, I'll start there.
Yep.
Ball State is the home of Jim Davis. Do you know who Jim Davis is?
I do, although I'm kind of cheating. But Jim Davis was the cartoonist who created Garfield.
That is correct.
Did Jim
Yeah.
Davis love lasagna or just the cat? I'm not sure.
I didn't go into that level of detail. I probably did far too much research for Ball State as I probably should have. But yeah, Jim Davis, creator of Garfield. There's actually some pictures from black and white times of Garfield dancing around on the field with Charlie Cardinal, which is kind of interesting. Other famous alumni. You mentioned one. I think we got some listener questions on that. Maybe do we want to save that one for later, or do we want to do that now?
The other, well,
Let's save it for later.
Okay, we can save that. We can save
All right,
that.
we'll move along. We'll move along.
Okay.
This is a funny one. Stedman Graham. Do you know who Stedman Graham is?
Oh, I do not. Not offhand. Should I?
Probably not, unless you had a mom that watched this show back in the day.
Okay.
Stedman is most famous for being the significant other of Oprah Winfrey.
Okay, now I just Googled him, and yes, sorry, yes.
Other famous alumni, John Shatner, famous for Papa John. Papa John went to Ball State, which I found crazy because isn't the Papa John Stadium for Louisville or something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, like it's Louisville. I don't know. So does he just think he can hop around from like Cardinal school from one to the other or something? I don't know.
I guess. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, Papa John.
Okay.
Other famous alumni, Joyce DeWitt, famous from Three's Company, if your parents watched that show, or if you maybe saw some reruns when you were a kid. And then the last one of note, Brady Hoke, former University of Michigan head coach.
Okay. Nice. Always appreciate the fun, JP's fun facts.
Yes. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but if I remember it, I'll come back to it.
Okay, we can always circle back because
it's our podcast.
It's our podcast, and we can do what we want to do. All right, let's talk through some news and notes. And the first one, I don't know if this really falls under news and notes. It more falls under something I forgot to talk about in the review. Something that was really cool that I know I texted you in the DC thread, John, about this. So I noticed during the game that the left guard was wearing number 77. That's Devin Willock's number. And so I said, hey, is Xavier Truss wearing 77? Is that Truss wearing 77? And it was. And he did get asked after the game about that. And so I think it'll be something to watch for this week is who is wearing 77, because it sounds like they're going to basically do that to honor Devin. Every week, the offensive line, I don't know exactly who's going to choose it, but basically someone is going to get the honor of wearing 77. It's not like Truss has switched to that number for the year. It's going to be like an honor. So every week someone gets to wear 77, gets to wear Devin Willock's number in his honor. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. That was a nice gesture. Okay, so had that. And then as far as Kirby's press conference, read through the transcripts there. I'm just going to hit on the injury front. So he said that he feels good about Dejan and where he's at. He said he probably could have gone last week, but felt like, just to hold him out. And then Ladd is day to day with his back injury. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's going on there with Ladd. I will say neither Ladd nor Dejan got the hopeful kiss of death. So that's good. But unfortunately for EJ Lightsey, he did get the Kirby Smart. We're hopeful to get him back. Kiss of death. And the one other note, not injury related, but Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint is available to play this week. So he was held out last week for disciplinary reasons, basically for his speeding arrest in the offseason. So MRJ will be back. So good news. Will be good to have him back on the field.
Yeah, the Ladd injury is just weird.
Yeah, with the back. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not really sure what's going on with that because he missed that practice time, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Kind of close to that that first game, right? Like it was like one of the last practices or whatever. But yeah, that's definitely concerning a little bit. I asked Graham and those guys to, hey, what's going on with this earlier, and nobody really gave me a response. I don't know if they're just keeping it on the down low or whatever, but I don't know.
Yeah.
You'd think that, like, I mean, Brock Bowers was playing. Like, you could say, like, oh yeah, well, they know he's a number one guy, so like, there's no need to throw him out there. Let everybody else get reps. I feel like everybody's playing at least 10, 20 reps, right?
Yeah.
You would expect it if he could go. I mean, you got Kendall Milton out there for crying out loud. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's something that I'm definitely going to watch more closely as the season unfolds. Hopefully, he gets back 100% quickly.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. So sorry, I thought I had to sneeze and then I didn't. I had like an awkward pause. Yeah, so let's jump into the game, John. When we can start off, just go through the usual. So like when Georgia has the ball, some things we'll be looking for. Obviously, number one, will Ladd McConkey be out there, right? We'll see that. Couple of notable players to look out to look at. Their safety, Jordan Riley, is their leading tackler, only through one game, obviously. But and then Tyler Potts is a corner, and he did have an interception in the loss to Kentucky last week. So just a couple of guys to look for there. Look for there in the secondary. And I watched. I haven't watched like that entire game, the Kentucky Ball State game, but the Kentucky offense kind of piled it on like eventually. So everything was slow starting. Ball State actually had the lead. Ball State was actually up 7-3. And not even like I think like some turnovers has actually kind of broke it open. So not even necessarily so much the Kentucky offense. But I mean, smaller school, MAC school, but what does that mean, right? Because last year we played Kent State in a MAC school, and we know how that game went. We kind of saw how everything went last week, and there were the moans and groans. So I don't know, John. What are you going to be looking for when Georgia's got the ball?
When Georgia's got the ball, I'm just going to be looking for like progressive improvement over each game. If I were in your shoes, Georgia fan, I would be looking for progressive improvement. So what I'm really looking for is the offensive line. Are they able to get pushed? Are they able to get separation for the running backs to run through? Are we able to get to the second level? Are we able to break tackles from the running back position? I'm not too. I mean, I guess I could say that I hope that we're a little crisper on the quarterback play. Hope we find Arian Smith as opposed to throw it over his head. Hope we have catches on the outside so that Dominic Lovett can shore those up. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see more Mekhi Muse. Like, I'd love to see him showing more of what we saw to be hopefully what seems like it may be some time for Ladd to be out if he's day to day. That's like another term for hopeful.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm going to be looking for. Getting push along the line, breaking tackles, and not just like, getting 2 yards after contact kind of thing. They're not just falling down, getting tripped up, and then just, crisper play from Carson Beck and no turnovers for Carshawn.
Yeah. Which he, was able to do last week. I definitely agree. I keep wondering, like, we said in the review, like if you're looking for a comparison for last week to last year, look to the Samford game. Team played very similarly. What I'm kind of wondering is like, what's Georgia going to look like here? Like, are we going to look like, what Georgia is going to show up? And to think to some other games of recent years, I already mentioned Kent State last year being a MAC team. Another one, although we've got them coming up on the schedule as well, but like UAB 2021, I wouldn't mind seeing us play like that offensively. there was a quarterback change in that game. That was the game where we all thought Carson Beck was going to get his first start, and then the Stetson kind of era really really started in that game. Brock Bowers had his coming out party. But one of the things that I remember about that game is kind of leading up to it. Coming out of the Clemson game, the Georgia offense didn't look good, right? We didn't have an offensive touchdown against Clemson in the 2021 opener, and everyone was saying, when's Georgia going to open it up? When are we going to see this Todd Monken offense? And we really aired it out, right? With Stetson throwing deep balls to Arian Smith, to Jermaine Burton, to Brock. So could we see something like that? I'd love that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the game plan looks like. I really would like to see some good running lanes open up from your buddy Stacey Searles getting the line open up. Because again, like we talked about, I think if there was anything to kind of, I don't know, one thing to point out was around the line. I will say Kirby did say in his press conference that he felt like it was more on the coaches than the players, which I thought was interesting. Just talked about needing to get them better prepared. So I don't know, maybe they'll make some adjustments there. Or maybe they won't. I don't know. Like we've talked about like the controlled adversity kind of thing, and using some of these games almost as scrimmages. So I don't really know. I don't know what we'll see, but yeah, I definitely game to game, week to week improvement. Something I'll be looking for sure.
Agreed. I mean, let's face it. We've got a lesser opponent. We should handle them, pretty easily. According to ESPN, we've got a 98% win expectancy.
Yeah.
98.7.
Yep. All right. Let's see. Is that it for the offense for you, John? I think that's about all I've got.
Yeah, that's all I've got.
Okay. Well, as we switch over to the defense, why don't we just take a moment to remind everyone that season 4 of My God, a Podcast is presented by Oxia Time. Oxia Time is a custom watch company. You've got to check out their 2022 Georgia Bulldog National Champion Collection. Tonight, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Sophia 2. So that's one of the watches in this collection. It's got a red face. It's actually got... the time dial, but it's also got the day of the month. And it has the back-to-back official national champions logo on it. It comes with an alligator leather strap. So we all love a strap like that. A watch strap for Georgia Bulldogs. And it also comes with a NATO strap, which that's what I like to sport on my Oxia timepiece is my NATO strap. As with these watches, you get custom engraving included in the price. John and I had that done on both of ours. And then again, if you use the code MyGottaPodcast at checkout, you will get a presentation box to go along with your watch. So be sure to go check them out at Oxia Time. That's AXIATIME.com. All right. So John, as we shift over to the defense, so what to look for when Ball State has the ball. A couple of things to call out. Quarterbacks. So they actually played 3 different quarterbacks against Kentucky. So that was interesting. One of them, I think he was the starter. He was their projected starter. He is a 3-time transfer. He actually started out his career at University of Alabama, Lane Hatcher. So he went from Alabama to Arkansas State to Texas State, and then now is at Ball State.
Wow.
So yeah, I think he was redshirted at Bama in 2018 or something like that.
Okay.
But he did not play the most snaps against Kentucky. So I believe as a freshman, Caden Samanza, he was 15 to 21 for 165 yards and a touchdown against Kentucky. I assume we're going to see him get most of the snaps, but not 100% sure. A couple of the guys to watch out for. Ty Robinson had 5 catches for 90 yards, and he caught that passing touchdown from Samanza. And then I've got to call out their running back, Marquez Cooper. Didn't do a ton against Kentucky, only 15 carries for 33 yards. But John, does that name sound familiar to you at all, Marquez Cooper?
Marquez Cooper. No, it doesn't. So
he was actually the running back for Kent State when we played them last year. So he's a transfer this year from Kent State to Ball State. So let me run down his stat line for what he did in Sanford Stadium against the Dogs last year. So he had 90 yards on 21 carries and a touchdown. And he also had 2 catches for 40 yards. So he was pretty impressive against the Dogs last year. So let's keep an eye on him and see if we can handle him a little bit better this year than we did last year.
Yeah, I would imagine they're probably going to try to get him in space. So we might see some more Malachi Starks coming down and greeting him to the turf.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Again, like with the defense, definitely, I don't know. I guess watch to see, do we see the same, not rotation and like number of snaps? Because I know there was some conversation going on the Dog Central forum around the snap count. They're like, man, if you look at the snap counts and how they're spread around, it really looks like a scrimmage. How much everyone was playing last week against UT Martin, but just the rotation, right? So are we still seeing, like, is Dalen Everett is he the first corner in the game, right? Opposite Kamari. Is it still Dalen Everett out there? Do they switch that up at all? Do we stick with it? So definitely be watching for that.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'd say that I would be looking for the defense again. It's the same thing. I want the line of scrimmage to be a dominating force for the university. So I want to see better push coming from the defensive line, particularly through the middle. I feel like that if the middle of the defense, we talked about the edge, right? Like it's kind of like, setting up, run to set up the pass, right? So if we can get good pressure from the middle of the defensive line, that might make it a little bit easier for us to set our edges. You know what I mean? So if they're finding that they can single team the middle, then that gives them opportunity to kind of double team and do some combination blocking and all that kind of stuff with, to kind of disrupt the pass rush on the outside and prevent them from setting the edge, which if the running back that we're talking about, had a good day in Athens last time, that could give us fits. So that's something I'll be looking for. I'm not worried, like literally at all, about the secondary.
No.
The linebacking core, I'd like to see them, plug in those holes. But again, it's just going to come down to the defensive line. The defensive line and the offensive line need to show progress.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, and like even
the havoc that Kirby talked about in the press conference, I feel like was something that he was kind of emphasizing, that they didn't hit their havoc goals, which I find interesting in and of itself.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say like that edge rushing position as well, right? So like whether it's Chaz Chambliss, we saw Jalen Walker get in there a bit in like some passing down situations. Definitely like to see continued growth there. I don't know, like, that's one where, I mean, we haven't had a guy do really like Adam Anderson since, he was suspended and never came back. Would love to see if we can find someone to do that off the edge. So I don't know, like is Chambliss that guy? Is it Walker? We got Mpemba, young guy out there. I don't know, something to see who can really develop there from that edge rush position. So
yeah, was it Smile Mondon that was coming off of injury?
Yeah, and he played he played
sparingly.
A little bit. Yeah, he played a little bit last week. And I know Kirby talked about that as well, about how, him coming off injury, and the thing that I saw that he mainly talked about, and he talked about this actually with Kendall Milton as well, is just like the physical fitness, right? Like being in the same shape that you would have, like these guys are not in the same shape they would have been if they were able to fully participate in fall camp, right? So like they're just behind. They're not in end of preseason shape yet because they didn't get to fully participate in fall camp. So I think Munden falls into that scenario, as well as on the offense, Milson, and there's others, but those are two guys that he really talked about that a good bit in the press conference today.
Right. Something that I will add about the press conference as well that I forgot to talk about when we have the ball on offense.
Sure.
Marcus Rosemy-Jack-Saint should be back as well. So we were talking about Ladd. Marcus Rosemy-Jack-Saint was a player that was suspended, but not officially suspended, right? Like,
right. Yeah.
He was suspended. He was suspended. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that would be something to watch on the outside as well. See how many how he's able to develop that that rapport with Carson Beck as well.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about that last episode. who can develop that rapport to be the go-to wide receiver, which again, like I just don't understand. Like it concerns me that our number one returning wide receiver, Lad McConkey, has not played a snap yet on a new quarterback in game situation. Right. Like they may be seeing stuff in practice, but I personally would love to see him get some reps in before we get to the meat of the schedule.
Yep. Totally agree. Let's see. I have some special teams nuggets if you wanna hit that.
Does Ball State have a ridiculous punter from South Africa?
So they do have. They seem to have a pretty good punter. So I didn't want to miss that like we did last week. So Lucas Barrow is his name. He averaged 48.5 yards on 4 punts against Kentucky last week. He had a long of 60. So he can reel off some long ones as well. I'm not sure that's quite UT Martin punter territory, but looks pretty good.
Okay. No home run threats.
So actually, one thing I did notice on the flip side of that is Ball State did allow a 99-yard kickoff return touchdown to Kentucky. So I don't know, maybe an opportunity for Georgia to get involved in the return game there. So I don't know.
I like it.
Maybe a little time for Muse. Get the return game going there as well. And then their place kicker is Jackson Corville. He was 2 for 2 on extra points against Kentucky, but 0 for 1 on field goals. His only field goal attempt was blocked, actually. So those are my special teams notes on their end. I think for us, because we saw the kicker battle, we assume was settled, and see if Peyton Woodring can continue to do his thing out there, and the Thunder from Down Under. Wait, what did we decide? It's Thunder from Down Under. That's what you like?
I like Thunder from Down Under.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, I still like the Boom and Onion, but that's okay.
Yeah. Well, I hopefully there's not going to be any break to the streak. I don't know if we talked about that before, but with the win in the last game, Georgia now has this team, Kirby Smart, this era. They're currently on the winningest streak in the history of the university. What is it? 18-game winning streak?
Yeah. No, we had not talked about that.
Yeah.
So 15, yeah.
They'll look
18 games.
They'll look to extend that to 19 games this weekend.
Nice. 19 is a good number. Brock Bowers, Hines Ward, Charles Grant. It's a good one.
Interestingly, they have not set the record for home winning games, though. That record was from 1980 to 83. They had 24 consecutive home wins. Currently, we sit at 19, which is currently we sit at 19.
Okay. So what was the streak? 24.
Currently, we're on an 18-game winning streak.
No, what was the longest home win streak?
The longest home win streak was 24 from 1980 to 83.
Okay, gotcha. So we could get to that this year.
Yes. The school currently has, they've tied, so we could actually set another record. They've tied the school record with 28 consecutive regular season victories.
Okay. Yep.
The school also won 28 in a row from Georgia won 28 in a row from 81 to 83, which shocker.
Right. He had Vince Dooley and Herschel Walker.
We're still shedding those 1980 things, and we're exercising some demons. So Kirby can actually point to that as listen, y'all haven't done jack.
Right. Seriously, I need to add Jamari Salyer to the soundboard with his 1980 who, brother. That
exactly.
So need to get that. We'll have to get that added.
I think it was 1980 who, dog.
It was brother. I got it. It was at the beginning of okay. I know it from the hype video editing from last year. So all right. Let's before actually we can go to the listener questions actually. So and a reminder, the listener quiz why can't I talk? The listener questions are presented by Working Web Media. We mentioned we have the newly redesigned mygottapodcast.com. We reached out to Working Web Media to help us do that. If you have a small business and you need some help with your online presence, you need a web design help, etc., reach out to Working Web Media. If you go to workingwebmedia.com/dogs, they will know that we sent you their way. One other thing coming to our site this week, if you're listening to this, it should be there. We are upgrading the My Gotta podcast store. If you're watching us on YouTube, which we are on YouTube, this shirt that I'm wearing tonight, this Better Never Rests t-shirt, is one of the new items. It's in our new store. So be sure to go check that out at mygottapodcast.com. All right, JP, we had a question, or a group of questions, a few questions come in from Trent Thacker through Facebook. First up, number one, can Mekhi Muse please be the official wide receiver of the podcast? So full disclosure, there was some texting going on during the game to discuss just that topic. I don't know, John, are we ready to officially say that? Are we far enough in yet? He's definitely in the lead.
He's certainly making a name for himself, but I feel like that, we have some things that that are in the works for later in the season that we're hoping we can talk about coming up.
Fair enough. I will say too, Kearis Jackson was not named the unofficial wide receiver after simply one game. We had multiple performances under his belt in the 2020 season that got us to that point. But Trent, I would say definitely a possibility, and like I told you, it definitely has been discussed.
I don't know if there are any rap songs that are like "I'm sorry, Miss Muse," but like there's a reason we have "I'm sorry, Miss Jackson" as like a thing we talk about.
This is true. I don't know. I guess that's not as amusing to you, John. I don't know. Sorry.
That's awesome.
Was it? I don't know. It was dad joke. Like, that's okay. Let's see. Okay, so Trent also said Carson Beck had a good game, but he just did not look comfortable throwing downfield. Do you think that's a product of not having Ladd and Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint on the field? So you've talked about that a little bit, John.
Yeah, I would say that's certainly got to be. Like I said, he's got to develop the rapport with some of these guys. Dominic Lovett, it's his first season. He's had an off season, but like it takes time to learn this offense, which is part of the reason why Ra Thomas has struggled outside of just being the doghouse for being a dumb. But it just takes a lot to play wide receiver at the University of Georgia, and a lot of these guys have got to come on. And we're asking a lot of Carson Beck. I think that a lot of it has got to be easing him into the game. The other thing is that like there's so many different things to look at from the last game. They stacked the box with 8 guys, right? Like, so, it changes the perspective. Like, you could look at it one way, like he didn't have as much time. Like, there's a lot going on with the movements, the wide receivers. That should indicate that if they're stacking the box, that there would be opportunities downfield. He was just missing them. So that's kind of goes hand in hand with I want to see some development and progression. I have a feeling that we're probably going to see that a lot more. Like, they're going to basically put us in a position where they're going to try to make Carson Beck beat us. And part of get ready for it, because part of what we're going to do to offset that is run screens.
Yeah. I mean,
what's more effective?
With screen pass. Yeah. They worked pretty well. I'm honestly, though, I feel so. I would welcome that. That sets us up for that kind of 2021 UAB type thing, right? Because that's what they did. They were like, okay, we're going to make Stetson Bennett beat us, and he did. I wouldn't mind if Carson got to have a game like that.
Exactly.
All right, last from Trent. He said, if I remember correctly, on the first play of the game, we had both Brock and Delp broken out wide like receivers. Do you think we'll see more of that throughout the year? And then he said, I will hang up and listen. It's something I went back and looked at. I almost said the TV copy. I guess the streaming copy. I looked back at the stream today, and that he is right. So both Brock and Delp were split out wide. I will say the funny thing is, so the first play of the game was that it was like a It was very much like an extended toss sweep almost. So it was a screen, I guess, like a sweep screen to Muse. It was not very effective. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure Brock Bowers like missed his block. He did not block his guy. So I think Brock's lack of blocking is actually why Muse got tackled behind the line of scrimmage. But when I see things like that, I would say yes, probably. And a lot of times, we will show some looks early and it's setting something up for later. So you've got those guys out left and we're swinging it to Muse. Next thing you know, Brock's going down the seam, Delp's going down the seam. Something else is going somewhere else, right? And your focus is there. So I wouldn't be surprised to see more of that.
Yeah. I imagine they're going to use those guys in a number of different ways as the season progresses. They're just too good to not leverage and utilize.
Agreed. Let's see. All right. Next up, British Bulldog. As previously discussed in our text thread, we had Hot Rod and Hot Pod. Although Jackpod, although we did discuss that. But anyways, what do we call Peyton Woodring? He said good wood was ruled out pretty quickly, but I liked payday that John came up with. I will say this question, I'm not going to go through all the replies, but the replies to the listener question tweet went off the rails. With the replies to this tweet, it was pretty hilarious. So I don't know. I like payday. I like payday.
I'm payday. I'm going with payday.
What was there was one other someone, and apologies if you said it, but I think it was like
wasn't it Dogquine?
I'm not sure. I can't remember who it was.
Russ Rutledge.
Okay.
Right?
Was it like King Wood or something?
Yes, King
Okay.
Wood.
Okay.
Oh shoot. Now I'm like all flustered.
Because you're trying to figure out who said it?
Yes.
You got to give credit where credit is due.
I have to give credit where credit is due. It was Ross Rutledge.
Okay. Shout out Dogquine.
Dogquine, yeah.
Nice.
I was right.
You had it. Why did we even question this?
I don't know. Because I'm an idiot.
We'll move on. Let's see. 51-7 GATA, who I saw at halftime of the game last week. He said, LOL, if he would have sat beside you on Saturday, what's one question you would have asked him? And so I didn't put the picture in here. But so what this is if you look at 51-7 GATA's tweet in question, Stetson was at the game this week, and he was like incognito, just sitting in the stands with like no Georgia gear on and like a hat and sunglasses. So we did not discuss this. I had seen it. I saw it like on Facebook somewhere, and the picture that I saw, it almost looked like it was photoshopped. So I decided that he wasn't actually there, but this one here looks like he was. So had you seen that?
I've seen the picture. Is it confirmed that he was there? Like, did like Jeff Dantzler or someone like confirm this on the Bulldog Brunch or something?
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that. I've seen the pictures. So who knows? I guess at this point, well, to be fair, this is from this tweet was from Skinny Dog 10, who has been known to make jokes. But let's pretend Stetson was there. And you're at the game, you look over and Stetson sitting next to you in a pair of sunglasses. What are you asking him, John?
Golly, I would have to ask him.
Just I don't know. It's super cheesy and like basic white girl, but like, how does it feel? Like, what does it feel like to know that you brought so much? You were a huge part in bringing so much joy to an entire like lineage and generation of Bulldog fans. I mean, like that's like the first thing that comes to my head, aside from like, what do you think about Carson Beck? Is he the guy, or is he the guy, or is it going to be, one of the other guys?
Right. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah.
I mean, like, what does it feel? How does it feel to like literally be a king in your home state for a school that you literally grew up rooting for?
Yeah, I mean, he literally lived out his childhood dream, right? His childhood dream was to win a national championship for Georgia. He did it twice.
We joke that we're all Andrew Smart, but really, like, we all are Stetson Bennett.
Oh, that's good. That's so true.
Yeah,
I feel like I would like on that. I don't know. This is also kind of cheesy. But
we're cheesy and sentimental types.
we are like mine was always like like wanting to make sure that he knows how much he is loved. Like I got like when everyone got mad about the parade stuff, you know, like I wasn't mad at him. I more like felt bad that he felt this way, you know. So I don't know. I guess
I chalk it up to drunk Stetson.
I think so. Yes, I think that's fair. So I think it sounds like from what I've heard, he does know. So I don't know. You know what, okay, here's you want to here's you know what I would actually say. Here's what I would say. Hey, Stetson, remember the time when we were down in the fourth quarter against Ohio State and you let it come back and we beat them? And you're like, yeah, awesome. That was awesome.
That was awesome. And then you like Irish goodbye to him.
Let's be realistic. That's 100% what happened.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
All right, we can move on. I love that question though. We do need to find out, was he really there or was this a skinny dog Photoshop? So if anyone knows, let us know.
I feel like if he was there, that we would know it, right? Like it's not a guy that can hide. I feel like
I've seen it on social media. I've seen it on the internet twice since Saturday, John. It has to be true.
Right. I mean, if he did it, that's a heck of an incognito. I mean, he's probably like, I don't know. He's probably running wild like he did against TCU.
Nice. All right, let's see. Chad Jarvis, John, this one's for you. He says, has John called his buddy Stacy Searles to ask him why the offensive line struggled, and did this hurt their relationship? And he said the Fire Bobo count is up to 10 based on the amount of people saying it last weekend. So have you had any contact with Stacy Searles, John?
I told him he hurt my feelings. I told him I need to see more. I got a fever, and the only prescription for it is better O-line play.
Nice. Yeah. Yep. Again, I know we talked about it, but that's definitely something to watch for this week because how does the line look? Curious to see if they change anything scheme wise. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I like to say, like, I joked about this before. I think I further feel this way. Was it? I can't remember if it was Chapel Bell or was it Chapel Bell or was it Graham? I can't remember. Somebody somewhere was talking about like the number of plays that they ran that were gap versus zone blocking, right? And I think that we had that like little analysis last year with Big George talking about the differences between the two blocking styles, and it seemed like that they were favoring one versus the other, and I feel like it was the harder one. I can't remember exactly. I'm butchering the X's and O's situation here, but again, just anyway, the point is that I feel like that the coaches put them in situational adversity where they know that they're not best suited for this, but they want to see what and test their muster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I am, as much as frustrating as it is, regardless of what the blocking scheme is, these guys should be pushing them around.
Yeah,
that's really what it comes down to. You can make excuses here and there, but some excuses only apply to other universities. I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Next up, Brett Belding. Okay, this is the one that we tabled earlier. Well, part of it, the second part. So it was a two-parter. First part, not what we tabled. A two-part question. Again, we're playing 3 birds in 3 weeks. What are your favorite bird recipes?
I'll let you go.
Well, I guess recipe for me to cook, I have one. A new one that I do like to eat is the pimento cheese Chick-fil-A sandwich. We did not talk about that in the review. Again, we missed multiple things. I ate that on the way to Athens on Saturday. It was excellent.
I also bought some for the lunch situation on Saturday to try, which Carter hates cheese, so he did not taste it. Neither did the other kids, actually. I was the only one that tasted it.
Sorry, Carter does not like pimento cheese.
He doesn't like cheese in general, which is
at all. No cheese.
Yeah, no, yeah, dude. He eats cheese dip, but he hates cheese. Sometimes so he likes mac and cheese, but he hates cheese. I'm like, I don't know that this kid is my son. Along with the pickle thing, like I want a DNA test.
Well, I agree with him on the pickle thing because you're wrong about pickles. So false. Okay, I'm gonna reel this back in. Favorite bird recipes. So mine to cook. My favorite thing that I like to cook chicken wise is my smoked wings, where I smoke them just in a rub, and then I finish them in a sauce. So I toss them all like in the same rub, smoke them until they're cooked. I take them out, and then I do batches in various sauces. So I'll do the first one just like in something kind of basic, like a Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce, a little sweeter one. And then what I do is I use the same bowl for everything. So I add various sauces throughout it. So then I'll add, next up, I usually do, what do I do? I'll do like, I'll do a Tabasco, a version of Tabasco. I do like a Chipotle Tabasco. I'll do that as a second round. It gets a little hotter. And there's a JB's Best is a sauce that my dad turned me on to a few years ago.
JB's Best. Okay.
Yeah, and they do so some, you may have had it like at a restaurant because they do like private labels. So like if you go to another Jeff Dancer favorite place, the Marker 7 Coastal Grill in Athens, their table sauce is actually JB's Best. That's what that is. That's where my dad found initially. So anyway, so it gets hotter with each one. So that's my personal favorite that I like, that I cook.
I like it. I do like smoked wings. Smoked wings are fantastic. I've seen JB's Best. I'm familiar with this one.
It's good.
Fried chicken.
Yeah,
it's gotta be fried chicken of literally any kind. I'm a huge fried chicken fan, especially in this family.
Yeah, nice. Can't disagree with that. Okay, then Brett's second question is what we tabled earlier. What is your favorite noted Ball State alumnus David Letterman moment? We got another I'll hang up and listen. We got multiple I'll hang up and listens. Always a fan of that.
Love it.
You want to go?
Yeah. So David Letterman was on my list. I left him out on purpose because of this question. David Letterman, probably the most famous alumni of Ball State. My favorite moment. So like iconic, like the top 10 list. Like growing up, that's like what I like wanted to watch and stuff.
Yeah.
As I got older, I feel like they got lamer, kind of like SNL. But I guess when I read this question, I didn't realize that it was a question until we were talking about it on the pre-call or pre-episode talk. When he had Joaquin Phoenix on, and it was like literally the most awkward interview ever. It was kind of like one of those like Between Two Ferns before there was ever Between Two Ferns.
Yeah.
And Joaquin Phoenix basically just said nothing to him, and David Letterman was just up there just like talking trash to him the whole time. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. And that's what I believe, from my recollection, I think that was all part of like not a bit, but like Joaquin Phoenix was making a movie with Casey Affleck, from what I recall. And I think that was part of it. Like other people didn't know, but I think it was related to that. Mine, I guess I've got a couple. One, a bit of a like more personal touch. So my sister had a friend growing up that she had met, like it was like a beach friend who she met at the beach when we were in the Outer Banks, like when we were younger. I'm 5 years younger. So, but anyway, she like stayed in touch with this guy, and like years later, like they to kind of date ourselves, like they would like talk on the phone and things like this. But I remember he called one night and was like, "Hey, make sure you watch David Letterman tonight. Like my brother's band is on Letterman. You know, they would have musical acts." So at any rate, this guy, his brother was the lead guitarist of Seven Mary Three. So I remember when Seven Mary Three made their David Letterman debut, watching that and having a connection to that. So that's the personal one. The other one that stands out to me, it was super random. It was the year when I think it was when Pulp Fiction had come out, and Letterman was hosting the Oscars, I believe. And he kept doing this whole like bit about introducing Uma Thurman to Oprah. And it was this whole like Uma, Oprah, Oprah, Uma. And he just like, it was this ongoing bit. And the thing here is, I don't know, John, you make fun of me for being a pack rat. And remember during like COVID, I found a box of VHS tapes, and I was like going through the VHS tapes to see what was on them. And there was one that had a bunch of Letterman on it, old we used to record Letterman on VHS and watch the next day. And it was actually this one episode where he was doing that bit and he like ran out on the street and like spelled out Oprah and Uma with hot dogs and pretzels on the street of New York. So that one sticks out to me. And no one probably knows what I'm talking about, but that's one for me.
Got it.
All right, we will move on. Let's see. Frip Dog, my dad. How do you think the Fire Bobo crowd would fare in a technical football strategy and execution conversation with the two-time defending national champion coach Kirby Smart? I'm going to say not very well, Dad.
Yeah, not very well, especially since a lot of those guys, including Aaron Murray, were like talking trash, and it was like the next play was like bang, 30 yards.
Yeah. We're gonna have to get over it.
I think don't we currently sit like 20th in the country in scoring offense or something like that? I can't remember what the stats were, but
I have not looked at like anything like that. Yeah. That's it. I have no idea. But that sounds right. I mean, we scored 48 points. I guess the offense scored 41, but you know what I mean. Let's see. John Michael D. On the Bobo topic, John Michael D says, I admit to the early panic about Bobo, but apart from the draw before the half, it seemed execution related on offense. Don't know how it looked in TV or the 300 level, but in the 600 level, my only concern was it looked like Beck stared down receivers too much, but got better. And I haven't rewatched the game yet, so I don't know. I don't know if that was it or not, but I tend to agree on the execution part that like we've talked about. I feel like we should have been able to open holes regardless of what blocking scheme we're using. I will say though, he mentioned the draw before the half. I think he's talking about the goal line situation there when we ran it. And I know we were talking before, or we were texting. I think you said that was the return of the Kirby rage stroke when that happened.
Yeah, there was definitely a distinct moment. I want to say he was going after Cash Jones, but I can't remember. But there was definitely a distinct like, oh, there it is type moment. Like, oh, he's back. Like it was definitely a distinct Kirby rage stroke. We're gonna have to gift that one. I haven't gifted a Kirby rage stroke in quite some time. I feel like the last one was Oregon State when he was like pointing at his watch. And I feel like it was a similar thing.
We didn't gift anything from this game. And I know like for me, like I haven't watched it yet. So I need to go back and watch and see if there were any gifable moments. We need to get a nice Carson Beck gif out there. So I want to find a good Carson Beck gif.
We do need a good Carson Beck gift. There's a good Kyron Jones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his Savage pads.
Ella's favorite with the Savage badge. You could gift that for her.
Okay. I'll do that. Let's see. Ryder Hayes. Oh, I don't even know if I want to answer this one. What would have to happen against Ball State to have any actual concern around Beck starting or about Bobo calling plays? He's going to have to take a lot for me to really be concerned.
Yeah. I mean, I would say like multiple turnovers. I mean, basically like a meltdown of Clemson type proportions. Yeah. I mean, they literally did everything wrong.
Right. Yeah. And I don't see that happening. It would take a lot. Like I can't think of it. Not in a game like this too, where we know it's going to be vanilla, so
I'll take this question seriously and say that like, I'd like to see some more downfield passing. That's about it. Like at some point you got to air it out.
Yep. All right. Friend of the show, Tim Riley. I love this. He brought up another thing that we forgot to talk about because I know you were going on and on about this to me. Please discuss with #uniform Twitter as well as Nike the issues with shoulder pads hanging out from the jersey. What's it take to get a proper fitting jersey for the number one team in the nation?
Yeah, dude, I can't believe I forgot about this, but that was a huge, like obvious issue. Like you look at the guys, and it started with Brock Bowers. Like Brock Bowers was running around without his pad on, and I remember remarking to everybody in the house, I was like, man, like why doesn't anybody like help him like put his pads back in? Normally that's like what you see, the pads come out from diving around and you see him come by and shove them back in. But then like as the game progressed, you like look around, it's like literally all of them, all the wide receivers have their pads out. Oh wait, that guy has what? Like everybody had their pads sticking out, and it was just Georgia. It wasn't the other team. Like, what the heck's going on? I don't understand.
It made no sense to me. I agree. They need to figure out how to retain the pads for those beautiful, beautiful uniforms.
Yeah. It again, something that I didn't see quite as much being in the stadium. I
I'm
have
surprised
no
that
idea.
someone hasn't asked him this in the press conference. Like, hey, what was up with the pads?
We need I feel like this is beyond uniform Twitter. I feel like this is actual equipment Twitter. We need someone with knowledge of equipment stuff to chime in here. We'll see. We'll reach out. We'll reach out to our sources.
Is Hambone still on the equipment team?
I say that's who I was thinking of. We'll check with him.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's allowed to talk about such things, but we can always ask him.
Yes. Hey, it doesn't hurt to ask.
That's right.
The worst they can say is no comment.
Exactly.
Because we are official media members. So, for the record, we have to ask these questions.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to email Claude Vilton.
Dial up Claude.
Yeah, Claude. The people want to know. Friend of the show, Tim Riley, formerly known as Miserable in Minnesota, wants to know what's up with this. All right, JP, are you ready?
I'm ready. Missed the song.
It is time for Coach Trillbill's Over-Unders Ball State edition. Let's see. As we established, I am now in the lead. I think that means I get to choose who goes first.
I believe so. Them's the rules. Them's the rules.
I'm gonna go first. Okay. Over-unders. Starting with the offense, 5.5 touchdowns. I feel like that's a good line. Ooh, man. I say I'm gonna go first, and then I'm sitting here waffling. I'm gonna go over.
I'm gonna also go over.
Okay. Your turn. Georgia players with a catch over under 8.5.
8.5. I'm gonna go over.
Okay. Man, I also want to go over. I'm gonna go over. Okay, my turn. Team rushing yards over under 175. What did we have last week? Do you know? I don't know.
Well, there would be no lookbacks.
You were told there'd be no math. Let's see here. Why is this taking me so long to find this? This is great podcasting, John. All right, we had 159 last week. I'll go under.
Yeah, that's definitely an under. With the banged up nature of the running back core.
Yeah. Okay. Over to you. Switching to the defense. Over under 3.5 sacks for the Georgia defense in this game.
I'm gonna go under just based on the previous performance. I expect there to be progress, but
okay. I'm gonna go over to further extend my lead. Let's see. Defense over under 2.5 forced turnovers. That's a lot. I think we're gonna see some turnovers in this game. Ball State turned the ball over against Kentucky multiple times. I'm gonna say under though. 2.5 is pretty high.
I'm gonna make up for the last one. I'm gonna say over.
Yeah, nice.
I've got to get aggressive.
Okay.
No punts. There's no punts in coaches over unders.
Amazing. Let's see. Okay. Your turn. Players with a solo tackle over under 16.5. And he did some research for us. Said last week there were 19 players with a solo tackle.
I'm gonna go over.
Okay. I'll go over. I'll go over as well. And then let's see. So special teams over under 4.5 punts for Georgia. Last week there were 5. I'm going to say over because I feel like Carson Beck is going to be mad. I need Carson Beck to take some issues with Thorson this week. I'm going to go under.
You said under?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go under.
Okay. And then last, miscellaneous, over under 85% stadium capacity at kickoff.
How are we tracking this? Over.
Over. Yeah, I'll go over. I will say this is something I am interested to see what the stadium capacity is like for this game. Like I talked about, it was packed. It was packed last week for UT Martin. I think a lot of people were, season opener, under the lights, etc. Not sure with the noon kickoff if we'll be able to replicate that. So I don't know if you're hearing that and you're like, Jim, shut up, and like, take that as a challenge and go fill the stadium. I'm all for that.
Yeah, go fill the stadium, guys.
All right. Thanks, Coach Trillbill. A reminder, we do not track these, but that's okay because Coach Trillbill tracks them for us now. So appreciate you, Coach. All right, JP, prediction time. I'm going to refresh one of these things because I didn't see it. I still don't. All right, we got to talk to Dogquant because the CBC R2 Sam is not being updated in time for our recordings. So we don't have that. That's okay. There actually is a line on this game though this week. So Georgia is favored by 42.
Pretty big line.
42 and a half. The over under is 52 and a half. By my math, that gives an implied score of Georgia 47 and a half to 5. And the OddsShark predicted score is Georgia 48.2 to 20.5. So they are predicting a Georgia win, a Ball State cover, and the over. I don't know, like we're back. So it's like I forgot what this was like last week when the game was like off the board and there was no line. Like these lines are so outrageous. Like that's a lot of points to cover.
That's a lot to cover. Yeah, I was actually sitting there thinking about like my score prediction and versus the spread. It's like, geez, is this a game that you bet you bet Ball State to cover?
Right. I mean, that's a big number. And again, looking at the MAC team we played. Look at the MAC team we played last year, Kent State. I don't know if this is a good comparison to them or not, but that one was 39 to 22, right? Like a lot closer. So I don't think it's going to be like that this year, or for this game so much. I don't know. I don't have a really great feel for it. Like I said, Ball State had an early lead on Kentucky, but Kentucky forced multiple turnovers. They had a scoop and score. There were multiple fumbles. Really changed the momentum of that game, and kind of Kentucky was kind of off and ran with it from there. So I don't know, like if Kentucky's defense is doing that to them, I would think ours can as well. And then hopefully our offense, continues to progress in the right direction there. So I don't know, man. I'm going to go Georgia. I'm going to go 45 to 10.
I'm going to go 50 to 13.
Okay. Got it. Have you decided if you're going to go yet? Do you know?
So homecoming is this weekend.
Okay.
My wife is doing some stuff with my daughter in the evening time for that. So
gotcha.
Probably could make it, but I'm not going to push my luck on that one.
That would be tough. That'd be tough.
Yeah.
I think that's the right decision.
So
yeah,
unfortunately, I will not be in attendance. I don't believe this time around.
I'm still not 100% sure. I'm not positive. Lily actually was kind of like acting like she wanted to go back last week. So I don't know. Maybe that'll perk up again and she'll want to go back, but I'm not sure. I know my sister is going again, so they'll be there. I'm not sure. I'm gonna make a decision a little bit closer to game time. So we'll see.
Got it.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Woods will be in attendance.
There will be some Woods, although my sister's married, so not. there'll be some Taricos there at a minimum. But yeah, I don't know if I don't go though. Like I haven't had a day of sitting around watching college football yet, so that wouldn't be the worst thing.
Has there been any Pandas bean dip made yet?
You know what? We did not have any bean dip last week. Maybe that was the problem with the running game. We didn't have any.
You didn't have
Pandas bean dip. Yeah, and you know what? We need to talk about that because there wasn't any back at the house to my knowledge. But they did barbecue. They did barbecue at the house for dinner. So yeah, I will say, like, if I don't go, I'll definitely make that at home. We always make that at home for games whenever we don't go. So
you have to post the recipe for the peoples out there for reference again.
I will have to do that. It is out there. I've put that out there. I will throw that out there again.
I say that as I stare at a giant bag of Costco tortilla chips that we were just discussing that we're going to eat this weekend, and I have a better use for them than the crappy salsa that my wife purchased. Sorry, Lindsay.
Tell us how you really feel about it.
Yeah, no, it was terrible. Dude,
that the salt. I don't know. It's more like pico de gallo. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's not salsa. It's pico de gallo.
You got to get that one that I like that I know you made fun of me because I gave you the Jacks. I like it. Do you not like that?
Dude, oh, I love the Jacks. The Jacks is
Okay.
fantastic.
Okay. But what did I get wrong? I got something wrong. Like, because Jack's, I think, is the style, the brand is something else, and I never know what it's called. But sorry,
Yeah,
we're going way off the rails. But
it was Jack's salsa, and I was like, which kind? And you were like, I don't know, Jack's salsa.
Jack's
I was
salsa.
like, what do you mean? Like, there's like different kinds. He's like, I don't know.
Sorry.
I was like, well, what color is the packaging? He was, I don't know.
I think
I'm like, dude, there's like different flavors. Like, have you never stopped at Publix before?
Okay, I'm gonna have to like redo my instructions to be more specific to adhere to these specifications. Sorry, it was too open. I'll be more specific. I can do that.
I feel like it's like the main one. Which, to be fair, at this point, I don't remember what the color was, but I think it was yellow. I don't know.
Got it. Yeah. I don't know. I'll put it. I'll include it. I'll include it when I post it.
The green. Sorry, it was the green one.
Is it the green?
Yeah, Jack's
Did you just look it up?
Yes, I
Jack's
did.
Special. That's it. That is it.
Jack's Special is the salsa, and then there's like medium. There's like all sorts of different ones.
Yeah, that I feel like is to your own preference. How spicy do you want your salsa? So, or how spicy do you want your bean dip?
Yes.
We usually do the mild, but I do like the medium.
They also have
personally.
mango peach if you want some fruit in your bean dip. They also have artichoke and garlic if you would like artichoke and garlic.
I'm not opposed to the mango peach salsa, but I don't think I would put it in the bean dip. Personally. All right, what other game are you most excited about this weekend, John? We've got Ole Miss, Tulane, we've got Alabama, Texas. What do you got? Is it Alabama, Texas?
It's got to be Alabama, Texas. Yeah. I want to see what both of these teams are made of. Like, is Texas back for the 15th consecutive season? And is Saban's luster waning?
Are you still thinking? I don't know that it was so much you. I know we had Logan predicted Texas to win. Shoot, didn't Marler say Texas was going to win because he didn't? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Milroe put up some pretty big numbers last week. Like, it's a much lesser opponent, but
I feel like that if Quinn Ewers comes out there like he did last year, Alabama's in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, period. So like, if Ewers can stay in the game and play like he did last year, I expect that's probably going to be another major top 10 upset, right? Another CFP impact game, right? But like, I mean, Alabama would still be in it because if they win the SEC, they're probably going to be in, right? So
right, yeah. This is, to me, it's like how I felt about Georgia Clemson back in 2021, right? Like when we thought we didn't know they were going to fall from grace like they did, but we were saying going into that game that Georgia could lose that game and still go on to the playoff. I think that's still true here.
So, all right. So the better question is probably like, if that game wasn't being played, like what other games of interest would you be interested in? For me,
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, for me, like there's two games that stick out in my head. Nebraska, Colorado. The last time Nebraska came to Colorado, the stadium was basically red. It was like a Georgia Tech game. Literally the color scheme.
Yeah.
So what does prime look like? Is Nebraska the right test for them? I don't know. We need to look at Colorado's schedule. I'm going to go off the rails for a second here because okay, so Colorado plays Oregon coming up in September 23rd. That's probably going to be their real bellwether game, and then they promptly play USC. So like, Colorado's going to get tested here, but I feel like that they're probably going to go into that Oregon game. We're probably going to sit there and see College game day. I feel like Colorado's going to beat Nebraska. I feel like they're going to beat Colorado State. I feel like that College game day will be there for prime time, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm watching the prime situation. I kind of thought it was all hype and what he was doing, like it just defies everything. So the fact that it's drawing such attention is
a little crazy, but like I'm still watching it with interest because I feel like that what he's doing there is never been done, right? Like no one's ever done what he's done before. So
Yeah.
The other game of interest is, just kind of for us as we look to our schedule moving forward, like Tulane, Mississippi.
Yep, that's gonna be mine. That's gonna be mine. For Hunter, and B for good uniforms. That's a good uniform game.
It's a good uniform Twitter game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a top 25 matchup. So it's actually I think it's other than the Texas game, I think that's the only one with two teams in the top 25, right?
I believe that is correct. Yeah. From my quick scanning, that looks right. That one is at 3:30.
Oh, it's a 3:30 game.
That's 3:30 on ESPN too, because I don't think with the CBS games have started up yet. They usually wait for the U.S. Open to end, although I don't even think that's on CBS anymore. But anyways,
Ohio State played on CBS this past weekend. That was weird.
I think, it must be part of the contract because it was originally they didn't have games because they were broadcasting the U.S. Open tennis, and the CBS games would start after that ended. But yeah, that's at 3:30, and then the Bama Texas is at night. That's at 7:00 on ESPN. So
right,
night game. So I feel like this is a day where you can get your full fix in. You go to the Georgia game at noon.
Mm-hmm.
You get home. You catch the rest of Ole Miss Tulane that was at 3:30. You settle in for dinner, and you're watching Texas at Alabama at night. This is a good weekend for college football. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Agreed.
Cool, man.
Can Charleston Southern upset Clemson? Didn't they upset somebody recently? I can't remember.
College of Charleston?
Yeah. No, Charleston Southern.
Oh, Charleston Southern. Sorry. Oh, that was Coastal Carolina, right? Coastal Carolina beat somebody.
Maybe they gave Florida a scare, probably.
South Carolina lost to somebody, one of those Carolina teams recely.
It was a bad weekend for the Carolinas.
Yeah. Well, for the South Carolina.
South Carolina,
yeah. I know, like South Carolina was up on North Carolina initially, but then they ran away with that. Do we know what happened with the Shane Beamer and Mac Brown? Like, I've seen the picture, but I haven't seen video.
I saw a picture. Full transparency, I don't even know. I know that they lost, but like what? I didn't even really see the highlights of this game.
I didn't really see it either. I just heard. I don't know. I only saw the score because it was on.
I saw the picture of Mac Brown with his hand around Shane Beamer's throat. Like
exactly. Yes.
Was that photoshopped? Like that's more important.
Yeah, I'm hoping it was kind of out of context, but I don't really know. Maybe it just looked worse than it was. But yeah, I have no idea. So. Good deal. All right, man. Well, it was fun getting to learn a bit more about Ball State with you. Like I said, good weekend of college football lined up. If I'm out, if I make it down to Sanford Stadium, hope to see some of y'all out there. If not, we'll be enjoying from the comfort of my home in North Carolina and just soaking all the college football all day. Well, TBD. But either way, looking forward to a great Saturday of college football.
Yep, this is my birthday weekend. So Friday is my birthday. And this is usually a game that I'm like glued to the TV all day.
I guess I was going to say any big birthday plans, but you got dual birthdays, you got homecoming this weekend. So
my birthday basically hasn't existed for 16 years. So, that's fine. I made some purchases for myself. I got a new fitness watch tracker. I got some new shoes.
Nice.
I got some cigars. Probably get a bourbon, but I'm probably just gonna hang out and do the homecoming thing with the daughter and try to do some other things on another weekend.
Nice. Like I said, I think that's the smart move. That's the smart dad move.
It's the dad move. Nice.
All right, man. Well, I don't know. I'll talk to you throughout the weekend, but hope you have a happy birthday. I'll talk to you on Friday for sure and throughout the weekend. But hope you have a good one this weekend.
Appreciate you, man. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.